Happy solstice. This is a message for you on the yoga teacher training that I'm going to be running next year. Confirm dates, location, and also the developments that I've been working on from some seeds of wisdom that I received on my travels. Some of you know that I went traveling through Mexico for a few months, and the final piece of the puzzle, well, who knows if it's final? We never really know what's final because things are always sort of developing and evolving. But when I say final piece, to where I feel that this is complete in a way that I can share it, and I intuitively felt something was missing. So it was interesting that came, and I'm going to share a little bit about that now. So in connection with Junajpu, some of you know, I think most of you know, this is a system that I'm developing, a yoga practice which is traditional asana, traditional yoga, in connection with the Mesoamerican calendar. And you know, yoga has always been connected with astrology, and we can see with the traditional 12 sun salutations, the 12 hours of the day, the 12 signs of the zodiac, you know, especially if you're looking at it with the traditional Hindu gods and Hindu astrology, Vedic astrology. That's not my forte, but you know, that then also translated to the West. Well, it actually started in Babylonia, and then it went to Asia, and then went through Greece to the West. But they both, in Asia and India, and also in Greece, they were actually both using the same system which was developed in Babylonia. So the yoga practice that was developed was traditionally in connection with astrology. So this is really honoring the astrology of this land, of Mexico, without, you know, sounding a bit kind of over the top. I do feel like it's why I've been here 5 years. For whatever reason, my yoga journey has taken me here, to be on this earth and this land. I'm passionate about the mythology of it and the spirituality of this place, and also creating unity between practices, between spiritual wisdoms, you know, for experience, and really just honoring in a modern day kind of how we can share from a place of what we experience, you know. I can't talk to you about Vedic astrology, and I can't get the yoga TT, even the 200 hour, we're not going to get deeply into Hindu gods. Why? Because it's not something that I can authentically share. I haven't lived in that place. I've been to India twice, but it's not something that I can say I've lived, I've breathed, I can share with you. But I have a foundational knowledge. I've done various trainings. I'm going to get a bit more into my journey with yoga and with the calendar in another video for those that are interested, or you can just feel free to ping me a message as well. But I have spent time on this land here, and I have been actively exploring and dedicating time to the calendar, and a modern approach to yoga which infuses mobility. So within that, the system of Junajpu is also, when I say honoring the Mesoamerican calendar, it's not just the Mayan calendar or the Aztec calendar. Often you find people talking about the Mayan calendar, Aztec calendar as something separate. And although there are kind of subtle differences, ultimately it does come from the same source, and it does have the same undercurrent in its wisdoms, but just different archetypes or slightly different names. The Popol Vuh was the initial mythological transcript, kind of script book, ancient book that inspired the 20 Nawals, and that's why I use Ahau. Ajpu is the sun. In Quiche Maya, in the Maya of the Yucatan, it's Ahau, and in the Nawals, and bearing in mind there are many Nawals languages, but the Xõchitl is the flower. So you can see the flower and the sun are, you know, slightly different, but it is the same energy of that day astrologically. You know, remember that the sun rules the heart, and for example, in Western astrology, we have the sun moves and will pass a whole month through a sign, you know, and that has so much power and wisdom within it, the Western astrology. But within the Mayan astrology, and for this practice, the sun rules the energy of each day. There's a day for each heart for each spirit. So for me, and as part of this practice, it's really important to honor the roots of where this mythology, which inspired the Nawals, came from, but then also creating a union between the Aztec and the Mayan. So with that in mind, what fell into my lap when I was traveling was Tolteca Yoga, which is an Aztec approach. And it's actually funny doing research on it and trying out the techniques. It's actually similar into some of the transitions or some of the, or would you say, signature moves or poses or flows within Junajpu have a similar intention. For example, when we reach up to the heart of the sky, heart of the earth, we're bringing that light into the body. There's a power position in Tolteca Yoga where you reach up and then you bring that energy to your vital organs. So for me, it's really important that I weave this into the practice, and it's actually not the first time this fell into my lap. Before I went traveling, when I was teaching at there was a young man, a local Mayan guy who's actually at university studying archaeology, and he came and he shared with me his wisdoms, and was curious as to why I called it Junajpu, because that's the traditional Kitchen Maya that inspired the Nawals, that obviously then became the Mesoamerican calendar as we know it today. And he also shared with me that he felt some of the transitions and the movements, because I do like to weave kind of energy techniques and mobility transitions and certain flows and signatures. There is that in Junajpu, and he was interested to know if it had been inspired by the statues. And there's one, I keep doing this because there's one Qigong method that you use for chakra balancing or balancing the dantians from the Taoist philosophy. So the chakras are the Hindu approach to the energy centers, then you have the dantians. So it's all relative, it's all interconnected, and there's also research and studies. I haven't yet to find a solid source, but I've spoken to it about a few people have heard it, but the link between the Chinese and the Mayans. And actually, as I'm speaking now, I remember meeting a guy who did documentaries, and this was in Chiapas where I was there 2 years ago, and he was actually doing a documentary on the connection between the Mayans and the Chinese. So who knows? There are all of these ancient wisdoms that are gifted through time, and it's about unifying them, and yoga does mean union. And Ōmeteōtl in the Temezcal also is the union between the masculine and the feminine. And I've shared this with those in my classes before, but just to kind of bring that home and wrap that up about the unity within spirituality and spiritual practices at a very simple level. In yoga, we breathe, ujjayi breathing, to sweat, to create heat. We die in shavasana, symbolic death, and then we're reborn through fetal position. So it is a rebirthing, just like the sun dies every day and is reborn in the east every morning. And the Temezcal, it's the same. We enter the womb of the mother, we sweat, and we create heat, and then we rebirth ourselves. The first door in the Temezcal, the Mexica Temezcal, was in the east. So there are many spiritual channels to be explored, but ultimately this first TT that I'm going to be running is going to be 100-hour. Why? Because I don't want to rush the 200. For those that want to do their 200 with me, I will be doing that, and then this 100 will go towards your full 300 with me. And if you already have your 200-hour, this is a great opportunity for you to come and dive into the mythology, get some inspiring new sequences, and it is going to be a focus on the methodology of Junajpu, mythology and the energy system. It's the 24th of March. This is going to be the date. I wanted to keep it close to the 19th, which I was going to do for the 200. The 24th of March is one can. It's going to be through the Trisena of the serpent, blood lightning, kundalini energy. I really sense it to be a powerful time for us to do the 10 days. 10 days, 9 hours a day, and you'll get your full 100 hours, plus there'll be 10 hours of personal study for you to do. There will be a basic on anatomy. I will get a specialist to come in, the same guy that was going to do it for the 200 hour, to come and do an anatomy workshop one afternoon. But ultimately it's going to be the methodology of Junajpu, exploring transitions, exploring energy work, looking at the mythology, and you'll also get Tolteca poses. These will be weaved into the sequences that you learn, and so you will be walking away with something to take forward as a yoga instructor. And last note, if you are doing this as your first yoga teacher training, I would definitely invite you to, in fact, I'll just say responsibly, go and do your 200 hour with me or with someone else before you then take this forward, so you can responsibly have the full body of knowledge to be able to go and share yoga. So thank you for watching. In terms of the space, it's going to be hosted either at a place I find here in TULUM, in the center, it'll be in the center space here, or in my own yoga studio. I'm currently looking at studios to rent to open up my own space here, which is very exciting. So I'm hoping to have that all running by March. As soon as I know where it will be, either one of those, I will let you know, but expect it to be in a studio environment, and obviously the price will be different. I'll be sending through the 100-hour price package. Also, you'll be sorting out your own accommodation, and I know for some of you that's just going to be so much easier as you're already here in TULUM. For others that are traveling in, I know that visiting TULUM was a big part of you wanting to come, so I just sense that this is going to work out best for everyone at this time. And yeah, I just hope to see you there. Looking forward to the souls that feel called to do this. It will be a real honor to have you there on my first one. Sending you lots of love, and have a great week.